Okay. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in for another episode of Dine Around Downtown Cooking at Home Edition. For those of you who are new to the program, welcome. My name is Ron Dijon. I am the event manager for the Downtown Alliance. And the Downtown Alliance is a business improvement district for Lower Manhattan. And what we do is we help to make downtown a cleaner, safer, and more vibrant place to live, work, and visit when we can. Uh, One of the ways we do this is by providing support to local businesses, especially during these unprecedented times. Dine Around Downtown Cooking at Home Edition is part of our continuing efforts to provide support, in this case, to local restaurants and food security charities that have been impacted by COVID-19. Now, today, you can help by donating to World Central Kitchen, a food security charity chosen by this evening's featured restaurant. No matter how big or small, every contribution is greatly appreciated, and each gift can help make a difference for those struggling with food insecurity. So please check out wck.org and donate what you can. Also, we have a post your plate contest. And if you are cooking along at home, either today or maybe over the weekend when you receive this video, you can enter to win a 30-minute private cooking class, virtual cooking class with tonight's guest chef by simply posting your plate on Instagram using hashtag #DineAroundAtHome and tagging @DowntownNYC. That's it for me. So let's get cooking. Tonight, your fabulous host, award-winning chef, and author, Rocco DiSpirito, will be chatting with regional executive chef Matt Hoyle of Nobu Downtown. Now, due to a technical glitch, our recording started after their conversation had already begun. So we're going to just jump right in midstream, but no worries, the cooking has yet to begin. So enjoy.
Give us a sense of how many people that you supervise. What does that mean? How many people could blow up your cell phone every morning?
There's a lot.
A lot.
It doesn't get much rest, the cell phone, no.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic, it's very large kitchens, sort of 30, 40 people in each kitchen. Obviously, this last year's been a little bit crazy, but hopefully we're getting back to it now, and starting this weekend.
Yeah, it looks like this weekend we will be getting back to it. Now, when you're the chef of a restaurant, for those of you who join us regularly, or for the new people out there, you should know that just about everybody has your cell number and reaches out for almost any reason. Whether it's to take a day off, a snow day, or they need a loan, or they're going to be late, and so your phone is blown up all the time. The other day, I was at Nobu downtown with Chef Hoyle, and he was using his phone to practice this shoot. We were doing some pre-production work, and when he finally was given his phone back, it had hundreds of messages. I hope you finally had a chance to get to the end of those.
Almost.
Very cool, Chef. So we're so excited. Congrats on imminent reopening, and tell us about what you're going to make for us today. Looks like you have a beautiful shabu shabu pot.
We do, yeah. We got this from Japan when we opened the 57th Street restaurant in New York about 15 years ago. Nobu-san brought this over from Tokyo for us. And so shabu shabu, which is we're going to make into a salad. It's a traditional dish, which is beef, swish shabu shabu. It's a phonetic name on the salad. Traditionally, you'll eat it with the sauce. We've made it into a salad, so it's going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit variation on it. Not quite what you'll see in other shabu shabu places. And I'll start off. I'll show you a little bit of the beef that we're going to use.
Yeah, so this is super exciting. I really leaned on Chef Hoyle to bring out the Kobe, because I know everyone is interested in Kobe beef and is confused about the difference between Wagyu beef and Kobe beef, and the stuff we get in America and the stuff we see in Japan. And so he's going to have a couple of samples of the real deal. So get your eyes ready, because it is a feast. It's definitely a feast for the eyes. Look at that incredible specimen of beef. Wow.
So this is a ribeye.
What are we looking at, Chef?
Okay, so these are ribeyes. This is one ribeye cut in half here.
I see the Japanese... back one has an R on it for Rocco. I see a little mark. The word R. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's a little bit here for you. Yeah. Okay, can you
Yeah, that is a beautiful shot. Look at that
This is strip
intramuscular
loin.
marbling of fat.
What are we looking for in the marbling? Obviously, a lot of beef has fat around the outside, but you can see how white it is, the beautiful color on it. But also, on the inside, it's not all white, it's not all red. It's very well spaced. All the marbling is all the way through the flesh there, which is nice type. Just in comparison, this is, say, a domestic tenderloin. So if you look at sort of the tenderloin, never has as much marbling on it as these cuts, which are strip loin. But if you look at the comparison, I mean, it's completely different. And I know it can get confusing with American Wagyu. Wagyu basically means from Japan. Gu meaning beef, waf meaning Japan. There are the same breed that have been bred in Australia, in different places around the world and in America. It's not quite the same as what we get from Japan. Very good, but slightly different in a slightly different sense. The American beef, Wagyu beef, for me is great for making steaks when you have a bigger portion of it. This beef is so rich, you really don't want too much. It's just too filling, too rich, too fatty. So what we're going to use today is we've sliced this up, if you can see that. So this is a bit just above the rib cap on the piece of ribeye. And then we've sliced it, if you can see it's super thin there.
Beautiful, absolutely stunning piece of beef. Now, the reason shabu shabu is considered a fancy dish is because it's a very lightly cooked process. So the beef is just dipped in the hot broth, and you have to use very high quality beef. Typically, pre-Wagyu America, we would use prime or ultra prime beef, or maybe a piece of tenderloin, so because we know it would be tender. But Nobu goes the extra mile. Chef Hoyle is using the best of the best of the best. Some would call it overkill. I call it a Tuesday night. I don't know, Chef, how often you get to enjoy it, but I can't wait to try Wagyu or Kobe beef in shabu shabu style. Chef, there are a couple of questions I want to, there's going to be lots of questions, but I just want to address these quickly. The anonymous attendee who asked why he's wearing a mask. He's in a room with other people who work with him. Some of them are operating the camera, some are manning the phones. He's in the dining room, and it's required that he wear a mask. So to answer your question, anonymous attendee, I hope that does the trick. And there's a question about precautions Nobu is taking during the pandemic. Let me just say, without insulting the intelligence of the great Nobu Matsuhisa and Chef Hoyle, is that any precaution that's mandated, they have taken. And then the 500 other precautions that they have figured out on their own, just because their culture, their restaurant culture, and their work ethic, and their personal ethics tell them to do so, are probably way more than average. So I assure you, all measures have been taken to be cautious and keep the pandemic at bay in the Nobu world. All right, Chef, let's see how this is done.
Okay, so obviously this is Japanese Wagyu. If you can buy pre-sliced, I haven't seen pre-sliced Japanese, I've seen pre-sliced American Wagyu at several Asian supermarkets, stores in New York, in downtown, Korean, H Mart. There's Dine Nobu, which is just north of here, I think. Sunrise Mart. Very good quality, all sliced for you. This will be perfect for this dish. You don't have to, we have a meat slicer and we can slice everything up, but you can buy it already sliced, and it's really good. Mitsuya, over if you're ever over in Jersey as well, just over the Lincoln Tunnel. So to start this, I'm going to turn the shabu shabu pot on, and we're going to make a broth. So just pouring in water.
And of course, if you don't have access to Wagyu and you're not interested in spending the kind of money it takes to find yourself some Wagyu, even a few ounces, chicken, fish, tofu, anything that you like will work well in this application.
I think you could even use yellowtail, which is we use in so many different dishes. Yellowtail jalapeno is obviously our signature dish, one of our signature dishes, and that would work very well if you wanted more fish. Yuba, which is
Could you just
tofu
quickly
skin
recite the
rotel.
ingredients in that sauce? I
In the
have my
yellowtail?
pen out, chef. Yeah.
Yuzu, soy sauce, jalapeno, cilantro. I'm sure you know it off by heart.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing more. There's nothing a little extra in there.
Little bit garlic.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the greatest dishes ever invented.
You can eat it every day. It's there. It's beautiful, clean dish. Okay, so we got some kombu. This is seaweed. Again, you can buy this from most Asian food
exotic food stores have it. Anything Asian, of course. I've seen it
stores.
in regular grocery stores now.
Yeah, probably even Whole Foods and places. I think
if you have to, you could get a pre-made miso soup mix. Would you be okay with that, chef?
No, there's no miso in this. This is a very plain water, and then with the kombu, it took me years to be able to taste kombu in water. It's much more just a mouthfeel. It almost makes the water has a different texture almost in the mouth. It's the umami in there as opposed to a very strong flavor. It's not spicy. It's not sour. So this would be a base to make miso soup, but it does no actual miso in this broth. We're just seasoning the water very slightly. I'm going to put some dry shiitakes in here to go with the kombu, and then we'll have lots of umami in there. Okay, and so I'm going to put the lid back on, and we're going to just let all those.
Chef, there's a question about the cookware. How would you describe that cookware? What would be the technical name for it, even in Japanese, if it must be a.
So yeah, this
Linda
is
wants to know. Linda's asking.
Okay, this is shabu shabu pot, which is beautiful. But for this dish, you can use a Dutch oven, Le Creuset, stove. You could use. They sell these in aluminium as well, which are in their own right beautiful as well. The handmade, artisan. I mean, they're making manufacturers as well now, but they're beautiful. You don't have to have the copper shabu pot. You need a pot about this big. So any, say, 6-quart Le Creuset stove, something like that would be fine for doing this at home, I think.
Terrific, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to make a dressing.
Is that turned on?
This is turned on, and
okay,
we're just going to boil this up. I don't know if you can see in there.
Got it.
It's steaming already. We're going to bring the.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it to just below a boil.
Terrific.
While we make the dressing. So we're going to use the miso that you were talking about, but in a dressing, not in the actual broth of here.
Yeah.
So we're going to take white miso paste, about 1/3 of a cup.
And chef, let's just go over what miso is for those who may not know.
So miso is a fermented soy paste. So if you ferment soybeans and often use a little bit of wheat in there, which is sometimes not, it's fermented. The liquid that comes out, in much simplified terms, but the liquid that comes out is soy sauce, and the paste that's left is miso. That's a very simplified version of it, but that's the basic process. So you have lots of deep, rich flavors in this miso. And then we're going to put some mustard, about a teaspoon, and about 30 grams of sugar. You can do this in a blender. If you have a blender at home, this is fine, but I thought it'd be good not to make too much noise. So I'm going to start mixing those together, the miso with the mustard and the sugar, basically the dry ingredients.
That's a great base for just about any dressing. Of course, this is a very specific dressing, but miso, mustard, and sugar, for me, is a glaze, is a sauce base, is the beginning of a delicious mayonnaise. It's just a great trio of ingredients.
For sure. I mean, you could, with the olive oil, the miso would hold. So if you wanted to make a vegan mayonnaise, you could use miso as a base. And you have to use eggs, which would be, and then you can take it any flavor that you wanted. So I'm pouring in the oils now. This is the sesame oil.
Sesame and olive, or just sesame?
This was sesame,
okay.
Just over 1/4 cup. And then.
And is it dark or light or anything special? Just the sesame that you
This
find
is, again, I mean, the one we use is from Japan. It's a pure sesame oil. It's a little bit toasted.
Great.
Pretty widely available, I think. So,
and Chef, I'm going to get a question about where you store sesame oil. Do you keep it in the refrigerator once it's open?
No, you don't need to.
Room temp? Okay.
As long as it's not excessively hot. Now a little bit of olive oil. If you do this in a blender, it'll be a little bit smoother, but I think the texture is quite nice.
Texture's fantastic. I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of texture with that. You're going to have basically boiled meat and vegetables. It might be nice to have a little texture, right?
Yeah. So you're looking for savoriness with the mustard, with the miso, the sesame. All of these things work with beef. Again, just little bit by little bit. If you can see the shabu shabu pot, I'm going to not burn my hands and lift the lid up. So always just be careful with the lids, there's condensation, so make sure it drips down. If you can see it's just boiling away there, I'm going to turn this down.
And for anybody wondering, the chef is using a portable stove that we chefs rely on a lot. It's called a cassette feu. It's basically a portable butane stove. They're really inexpensive. The gas they run on is really inexpensive. And if you like to cook, you know, here and there and maybe do things in the dining room, this is a great item that you can buy literally for under $30 in any restaurant supply store.
Okay, now I've started to add some vinegar. Can you see that?
What kind of vinegar, Chef?
This is rice vinegar. So again, it's a Japanese product. Perfect. It's a very clean, taste compared to, you know, other, say, a red wine vinegar or sherry vinegar or malt vinegar. You see how it lightens up the color there?
Yeah.
It really looks like a sesame.
Definitely see that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to finish the rest of that. Just want to add a little bit more oil.
I'm thinking about just dipping that raw beef in there and trying it like that, but unfortunately I'm too far away.
Soon.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put a little bit of soy sauce. So there's no salt in this. Soy sauce does all the seasoning you need. We'll put a salt. Just taste that.
Chef Kristen is asking if you can prepare the sauce ahead of time and how long it'll last. And is that something that you can keep in the fridge?
Yeah, so this sauce is great for making ahead of time. It can keep weeks in there. There's nothing to really go off. Oil, vinegar, miso keeps a long time, soy sauce, and then just sugar and mustard. However, the next ingredient, which we're going to add, I would add later. So I would get the sauce to this stage, and then we're going to grate just red onion, and we're going to grate it. You can use a box grater if you like, which I have here, but this is just one we use for wasabi, we use for daikon, and it's going to make it a little bit finer. This is just going to take me a minute.
These Japanese graters are now widely available. There's a place called Korin on Warren Street in downtown Manhattan, not far from Nobu, that sells this type of grater. They're under $10 usually. They're fantastic and so versatile. So if you're thinking about a new piece of equipment, I recommend one of these.
So you can see in there the texture that it is different with this grater, just because it's so much finer.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the flavor from the onion and a little bit of texture to it. But that you wouldn't.
So it's
get
almost like blending it, but not. It's like a step away from blending, if you still want a little texture left. Couple of questions, Chef.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you? People want to know how you keep sushi. I guess virus free. And
how do we keep sushi virus free?
Yeah, there's far as I understand it, food does not transmit a virus, and it's probably the same way they keep the sushi fresh during non-pandemic times, which is to use best practices at all times. Chef, if you want to add anything to that, please feel free. Otherwise,
yeah, I mean,
think,
sushi was
the reputation
actually,
speaks for itself.
sushi apparently was originally, the original version of sushi in Japan was made to, as a way of keeping the fish. A lot of fish was pickled, or which is kind of perverse from the way we see it. You know, it's very simple: rice, fish, seaweed, and because the rice will be seasoned, that will help it a little bit longer. So how we translate that is, obviously we know exactly where the fish has come from. We've got our suppliers we've been using since Nobu-san opened the first one, it's 1994. We go back a long way. All our fish is traceable. The standards that we expect and get are, until I started working here and in Japanese restaurants, and, looking at Japanese restaurants in general, you have great fish everywhere, but just the way it's prepared and the way it's stored, the freshness, it really is, it's fantastic. So that's the main reason. And then obviously being busy really helps. We have no choice but to run out every day. New fish in every day, rice, several times a day during as we run out.
Terrific, thank you, Chef. Lisa A wants to know if you could replace the meat with tofu. We sort of addressed that already. I think
we
Chef,
can do.
You have some
Yuba is another
tofu,
interesting one, which is tofu skin. I would recommend. There's a couple of different types, and that's it's an interesting texture. I quite like that. Yuba.
And for Katie Repman, who asked where you can buy miso, all the same places that the chef mentioned earlier in Manhattan, Sunrise. Any grocery store now sells miso. Sometimes it's in the dairy section, sometimes it's in the exotic food section, or the section that sells all the international foods, but it's pretty much available everywhere. And then of course online.
I'm just going to put the red onion in. This is just a sauce. That's just a nice little bit of texture. And again, onions, sesame, mustard, and miso. It's a great combination to go with beef.
In my mind, those are amazing flavors. I can already taste a little bit of what you're working on.
Yeah, so I'm just going to move this over here. As we're going to make this into a salad, you can pretty much put anything that you like in the salad. And so even though on the recipe, there's certain ingredients, if you like broccoli, put broccoli in. If you don't like broccoli, don't put broccoli. I like putting some garlic chips or some kind of crunchy texture in with the salad as well. So here we've got a pan with oil, just cooking oil, cottonseed oil. And we're going to heat it to around 330, 340, something like that. I have a thermometer here. That's Fahrenheit. So we'll just take a few minutes to heat up a little bit more. And then so we have some sunchokes. I love sunchoke chips. I think last time we did this salad. If you want to do sunchoke chips, you can just peel them. And then you want to put it in acidulated water. So water with a lemon juice in it. And then also I have some garlic here as well.
So these are going to be the crispy elements for garnish in the
These
salad?
are going to be the crispy elements, yeah. So.
And Chef, the shabu shabu cooking liquid, that's something that you can make instantly on the spot, doesn't need to cook for a long time?
Doesn't need, I'd say about 15 minutes to infuse all the flavors together. And then, you know, even now we can probably turn that down a bit.
And there's some questions about different types of miso, whether white miso would be okay. What's your sense, Chef?
White miso is okay. Red miso, you're going to get it's a little bit stronger flavor. A regular white miso, which you'll see, you know, health food stores or anywhere else. I've got a Japanese mandolin. Can you see this? And obviously, I'm slicing super thin.
Japanese mandolin is de rigueur for any chef in New York City since Nobu arrived, and almost a little bit pre-Nobu. There were a few chefs that knew about them. You can tell them apart from other chefs because their fingertips are missing. So be careful when you use one, but it is a very inexpensive, very utilitarian tool that works on lots of different vegetables. Great for garlic chips, of course. Thank you, Diane, for your question.
Okay, so that's suncho chips, and then I'm going to take garlic. So with this garlic, we slice it and then we blanch it in water, which I just did before, but I'll show you how we do that.
This is that elephant garlic, Chef?
It is elephant garlic.
Looks big. Yeah, it looks big.
We use for chips, I think for...
Arthur Raphael is asking about sunchokes.
Sunchoke.
Feel free to explain. What are sunchokes? And
sunchokes, I mean, in England, we call them Jerusalem artichokes. They are a tuber. These come in the kind of a funny little package. Lots of nodules on them around here. They've got a great flavor. Go particularly well with truffles, if everybody wants to try any nice black truffles.
Oh yeah, we definitely want to try that. Thank you, Arthur, for your question.
So the very versatile.
If you can prepare the sauces ahead.
So again, you can see how fine I'm cutting the chips. You can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with this, I would take boiling water, have some ice water next to it, and then we're going to blanch them in and out. And then, which is what I did here. That's simply just been blanched and then cooled down in water. Just check the temperature on here. We're looking at, my thermometer's taking time to get up. Not quite a temperature yet. So we just kept it in with a little bit of lemon juice so it doesn't discolor.
So lemon juice is used for blanching the garlic as well as the sunchoke?
No, sorry, that was with the sunchoke chips because they will discolor.
Yeah, the garlic typically doesn't discolor unless it's out for a very long time.
And the reason with blanching it is it can get very bitter. It caramelizes, it gets bitter. This is the garlic. The sunchoke generally don't blanch. And then other things, you can use potato, you know, obviously potato chips are fantastic, nice and thin. I really like taro. You could use onions. If you like onions, beef and onions obviously is great. Crispy onions on your salad. And then also I like to just, in the oil, even though we've got a thermometer, just put one or two pieces in first. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see the oil looks beautiful. Did you say it was pumpkin seed oil?
It's actually cottonseed oil.
Beautiful. We can see right in the pot.
Yeah, so you can see that's bubbling away. I'll still get it a little bit warmer.
This is one of the jobs you don't want as a chef in a kitchen. If you're a cook and you come to work every day and your job is to fry the garlic chips, you know, don't have a bad day. Don't come in with a bad attitude. If you burn them, which can happen very easily, you have to do them over. There's no rescuing them.
There's no rescuing. They go quite quickly. So I like to start with the heat a little bit lower. I mean, you can go up to sort of 350 on these. I like to start a little bit lower because, as you say, it's they turn very, very quickly. See, what you want is crispy all around, maybe just a little bit of color. If you get too much color, these are going to be bitter.
Yeah, there's a beautiful moment between dark brown and burnt where the flavor of the garlic is heightened. It's the most exciting, but then another second later, it's absolutely carbonized and awful, and you just can't use it. Yeah. And I know from eating at Nobu that you guys take it to that very tense moment, that very exciting place where it would have been burnt, had to cook for another 2 or 3 seconds.
It is. We've gone through a few techniques cooking garlic.
Yeah.
We used to soak in milk overnight. We used to blanch 3 times in milk, or blanched in water. But in the end, I think you just need to take a little bit of care. Blanching it once, then taking a little bit of care is good. And then you can see that's how it's going to end up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
When you've got one that's right, you can then few in. I'm keeping the heat on because I don't want the garlic to lower the heat of the oil. And that'll be plenty for our salad.
Chef, there's some questions about this hot pot versus Korean hot pot and other Asian style hot pots.
Yeah.
If you want, please feel free to explain the difference. This is from Fenric.
Shabu shabu apparently came from, the roots are from Mongolia, and the dishes, I'm sure, must have, just as most cuisines has progressed over the centuries through different countries, and people have traveled, traders have moved around, and so I think the Japanese have taken that idea and turned it into, put their own variation on it, just as the Korean cuisine has its own variation as well, as many other cuisines do as well, all over Southeast Asia or Asia.
And even in Europe, there's different kinds of fondue. There's fondue where you boil meat and vegetables in stock just like this, or fondue that's made of cheese, or fondue that's oil based and you fry things. So I think the concept of quickly boiled meats and vegetables in a richly flavored broth is pretty universal.
Yeah, I think so. It's a really interesting technique that does get overlooked, I think, a lot. There's fondues, it's a special occasion type of dish. It also needs to be eaten straight away, which is nice. So it's perfect for at home with friends, very interactive. And it's quick once it's all in the preparation. The actual cooking is very, very quick.
Chef Jane Bojar wants to know if you can make the broth ahead and then rewarm it.
You could do. I'm not sure if you need to. As you can see now, the broth's already ready while we're doing a few other things. I'll leave some chokes till later. There's the garlic chips. I'll move back to here as well. So we have different vegetables. You can use whatever you like in your salad. So I've got a bit of broccoli.
Chef, if you don't mind, could you hold that plate up to the camera so we can see all the different vegetables?
Yeah, let me just move that over.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks like I see some endive, some broccoli, some green onions, radish.
Yeah, I got some scallions, endives. These are watermelon, radishes. I'm going
carrots,
to do
okra,
broccoli, some carrots, anything that you like. These are watermelon. Radishes, which are beautiful inside.
Really beautiful. Wow.
Again, we can slice those. I don't think you need to cook these. We can slice them again on the mandolin. and you'll get something like this. And you can just keep those in cold water. Okra I like because of the texture. So I'm just going to put those in for a few minutes. Put the broccoli in. You can also do this ahead of time. If you want to blanch these in water and then cool them down, I think that's a good idea as well. So while they're cooking, so
chef, the broth looks like it's at a low simmer. Is that the idea?
It's at a very low simmer at this point, yeah.
Okay.
And the shiitakes have now, the flavors come out of those.
Rehydrated and delicious.
Yeah.
And bouncy and chewy.
So just regular, I've got just regular salad greens. Again, I like the texture on here. I'm gonna put in a few endive, which I like the bitterness. There's also, again, it's a different texture. The color is great on them, and it's the season now. Chicories, endives. I always feel of it being a real winter vegetables. It really stands up as well to for beef dishes, meat dishes. Okay. So then I will take a little bit of ice and chill down these vegetables.
So I guess this would fall in the category of a hot dish served cold as a salad, as a cold salad?
Sure, yeah.
Is that it? Okay. Something that would be an appetizer at Nobu or a light main course? Or
it would be, yeah, it depends how you're wanting to eat. If you wanted a salad with, especially with this, with very rich meat in there, it's just coming up to a little bit more of a boil now. These okra really are quite slimy. Give me a problem. There you go. So I've not blanched these for long at all, but you can see, so you're going to get a little bit of crunch still in them. And again, you can just chill them down in the water. These watermelon radishes, I'm just going to cut into little strips. Which we can put through the salad.
Mm-hmm.
We got nice bits of color there. The okras, I'm going to cut in half, or maybe quarters.
So it's a pretty broad range of veggies in there. You've got everything from cruciferous to chicories to, brassicas. And of course,
and if you're eating this with chopsticks, you want to make sure everything is bite size. So you don't want anything too large. So, that's about as big as you really want to go underneath.
Yeah.
So.
Chef, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about all the different chopsticks that you use while you're cooking and preparing. We've all seen Japanese cooks use different chopsticks at different times.
Yeah. So we obviously have the wooden chopsticks that we normally use, the bamboo chopsticks. These I use for the garlic and the frying, and these are tempura chopsticks. So you can make tempura. These, I don't want the oil from there to go into here. So I changed them out and got a slightly more refined wooden chopsticks again. And then often I have metal chopsticks as well, which I'll use if you're plating raw fish, etc., which are really good.
Got it.
And then if you want to use regular bamboo chopsticks, that's fine as well. Okay, so we're going to let me get back to the beef here. You can see that. And then we've got a little dish just to take the drips out of it. Then we're going to go shabu. So this is going to go in. Can we see this?
Yeah, we can. Looks amazing.
Swish.
Literally seconds.
Literally seconds. And you're going to go one at a time. So don't start putting it.
Very
Don't
nice.
put everything in there all together.
And obviously, you're not looking for a temperature or a doneness. It's probably basically fully cooked through almost.
It's cooked all the way
Almost,
through.
yeah. Yeah.
And you know, with the fat content, it's going to be so rich anyway.
Yeah. Should be
You're not
incredibly
looking
delicious.
for a rare, medium rare at all.
I find it tastes a lot like it has a texture of foie gras, but made of beef. Foie gras of beef, because of that melt in your mouth fat. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess toro, the tuna belly, is sort of in the same kind of class.
Yeah. There's a question about frying shallots. Would it be the similar process? I think would be pretty similar. Kara, to answer your question, depends on whether they're sliced or chopped, but very similar.
You could also put.
Looks like,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could also put like a potato starch on the shallots as well, and as you would with onions as well.
Great.
If you want a little bit of, more texture,
crackle?
sort of like traditional sort of onion ringy type texture. That makes sense, onion ringy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for a little crackle, a little crunch. And Arthur Raphael is asking about the okra. Why cook for so little time? I think they're very fresh. They're very they cook very fast, and they really just don't need it. Don't need a lot of cooking, as is the case with many of his ingredients.
I think if you're making an okra sauce, then it needs to be cooked. If you're making, but for this dish, because it's in a salad, for me personally, I really like the texture. Obviously, if you're cooking it out and it's the base of a sauce, you'd cook it for much longer, and you're getting different things out of the okra.
Yeah, if you're afraid of the mucilaginous texture of okra, then just don't include it. Don't even mess with it. But if you like that, which I do, and obviously Chef does as well, then there's no reason to overcook it.
Okay, we're almost done with this. That's actually 8 ounces.
So it's just one mortgage payment of sliced beef.
One mortgage payment.
Yeah, for most New Yorkers. Lisa A wants to know if this recipe is in Nobu's cookbook.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think it is.
It feels like a new dish. I've eaten at Nobu many, many times. This feels like maybe a Matt Hoyle creation. I'm not sure.
No, it's Nobu-san. We did it with Nobu-san when he came a few years ago.
Of course.
We've rotated this dish on and off a little bit.
Of course. It looks extraordinary already, my goodness. So
you lose the beautiful redness of the dish, of the meat. But compare it to what it was before. But all the flavors there. So now we should plate this up.
So a typical serving would be about 2 or 3 ounces, don't you think, Chef?
Or I think 2 or 3 ounces will be fine.
Yeah.
This is 8 ounces. It doesn't actually look, that's a good 8 ounces. I think this could share between, well, it depends, 3 people maybe, 3 people.
Yeah. You just can't, you can't, there's no equivalent between this and regular beef. If you normally eat an 8-ounce steak, you'll only need to eat half of that in the form of Kobe beef because it's so rich. All right, here we go, plating up.
So I've just very, very lightly dressed the salad in the sesame dressing. So we put some leaves on the plate, make sure we got some endive, some of the watermelon radish. I like the endive, so I'm going to put some more on. Got a bit of broccoli, a few more leaves. Okra, look at the okra. Let's get a little bit more.
And Chef, you're leaving the okra whole? Or did you pop it?
I just cut it in quarters there. You can see.
Oh, there we go. Okay, great.
Like in halves, quarters.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then I actually had a few carrots before, again, just raw carrots. If you wanted carrots, you put a few of those on. And then sesame seeds. So you can put different toppings as you want.
Brilliant.
So when you take sesame seeds, you can either crush them with a knife on a board or just crush them I don't know if you can see that. If you crush them with your fingers, it releases a lot of the aroma and it changes the texture, so they're not quite as hard.
And you said really these are raw or are they toasted?
These are toasted sesame seeds.
Got it.
This you don't have fud, but I like it's just a little bit of a dried kombu. Again, you can get it from supermarkets, Asian supermarkets. Okay, let's get the beef on. So then we're going to plate the beef around.
I must say this is probably the lightest approach I've ever seen for such an indulgent cut of beef. It is whisper light, other than the beef, the salad, you've treated it, the vinaigrette.
I mean, you have all the flavors that you traditionally associate with beef, you know, mustard, sesame, but it is just, you're right, it's very light.
So it's the handling of it and the way you handle the vegetables. And so I think you'll really be able to feel, you know, the sort of majesty of that Wagyu beef, where in some cases it's, you know, overruled by other big flavors.
Yeah, exactly. I tend not to sauce Wagyu beef too much. I mean, when I'm serving it as a steak, because you really just want to, you know, taste the beef itself. So then I'm just going to sauce sort of around. We've already got a little bit on the salad. I'm going to go quite heavy with this sauce.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to want a side dish of that sauce, just to dip your bread in or whatever it is that's going to be on the table.
For sure.
Looks like it'd be a great crudité sauce. And then here come the garlic chips. Wow, those are perfect.
There you go. So you have some sesame, some garlic in there as well. And yeah, you can have the sauce on the side.
You're at about a 99 out of 100 for mouth-watering quotient.
And there you go. That's Wagyu shabu shabu salad, sesame miso dressing.
There you go. Only 50 years of wisdom in that dish, and probably 100 years of experience. Diane McCabe said, "Looks delicious. Is it on the menu, chef?"
We will be doing it for specials.
All right.
Nobu downtown, exclusively.
If you guys are watching, you should mention the chef by name, Matt Hoyle, and say you saw him do a demo. Would he consider, you know, for a small supplement of $150? Consider making one of these for you. You might get a decent response. Arthur Raphael says it looks good. I agree with you, Arthur. It looks amazing. And then what do you do with the broth, chef? Is a question.
So, I've just put some noodles in there, so you can use this one. It's got so much flavor.
There we
apart
go.
From the kombu and the sake, which gives it real umami, nice mouthfeel. Now you've got all the beef in there, the beef fat flavor. So I don't know whether we'll have time.
Is that for the cooks or is that for the customer?
We do when we do regular shabu shabu. We offer if anybody wants this at the end, and then obviously there's no starch in here, so you're getting a little bit of starch at the end, and this would fill it up as well. So I don't know if we're going to have time, but the noodles will cook out, and then we'll season the broth with a little bit of soy sauce and maybe a little bit of salt, just to taste.
I've never been so hungry after a demo in my life. This is incredible. A big surprise right there with the noodles right into the broth. Yes, no, they don't serve bread at Nobu. That's true, Lisa. The sauce would be great with rice. I imagine would be amazing in there as well as the noodles. Instead of doing noodles, if you want rice, if you get say one rice bowl per person, put it in the broth, whisk up 1 egg per person. You can just whisk in a bowl, pour it over, and then serve it as a sort of rice soup to finish the meal with. And then you'll have all the beef flavor in there. It's a very nice way to finish. And so you're also filling out the meal a little bit. If you have, beef, salad, vegetables, a nice healthy rice or noodle dish at the end with the broth. All right, sounds ridiculous and sublime, and I'll take two. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Thank you very much, Chef. Thank you. And of course, thank you to Chef Nobu-san, we say with respect, and everyone at Nobu. It's a very big team of wonderful people that work at Nobu. Karen says thank you. Kellyanne says thank you. Yes, Kellyanne, I'm sure you could put the mushrooms in the salad. I doubt the chef will mind. And Lisa, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Guys, don't forget that the original Nobu from 1994 has grown into over 45 locations worldwide, 17 in the United States, and of course, many more in Europe. Chef Hoyle has picked World Central Kitchen as his dedicated charity. Chef Jose Andres and his wife, Maria, and you guys, I'm sure you've heard about the great work Chef Jose Andres is doing. So we ask you to consider donating to Chef Hoyle's charity. It's also a charity I'm very, very proud to be working with as well. Don't forget that we have a contest on Instagram. Post your plate. If you try this dish at home, and I really encourage you to do so, whether you use the recipe or you just riff off of what Chef Hoyle did, which was an extraordinary demonstration of so many brilliant techniques and flavor combinations, post your plate and enter in a chance to win a 30-minute virtual cooking class with Chef Hoyle, which would be extraordinary. Don't forget to tag Dine Around at Home, Downtown NYC, tag me, tag also Hoyle Matt, that's Chef Hoyle's IG, and show us what you did. We'd love to see it. Let's see, I think there's a few more questions. Let me just want to make sure I get to all your questions. I know these questions are very important to you. Thank you guys. You belong, thank you. All right, Wendy, thank you. Susan, thank you. Lots of compliments, Chef.
Excellent.
Diane, thank you for being back again. And don't forget that Dine Around Downtown Cook at Home edition continues. Up next is France's Tavern on February 25th. France's Tavern, of course, is one of the oldest restaurants in the country, one of the oldest restaurants in the United States. I think it might be the oldest restaurant in New York City, over 100 years old. We will be cooking live with the chef of France's Tavern. And don't forget to thank Downtown NYC, the public-private partnership that creates this business improvement district, and all the hard work that goes into making our lives better, to enriching the quality of life in downtown New York City, and all the people back there like Ron, Craig, and Shelley, who do the hard work of producing these extraordinary demonstrations. I, of course, am thankful to be here. Rocco DeSpirito, I hope to see you soon. I hope to be looking at your version of Chef Hoyle's dish on Instagram very, very soon. Thank you, and see you on February 25th. Thank you all.